Hi guys, my name is Georgia from The Lazy Student. Today we are looking at some groceries. So I remember when I was in first year, but the one thing that I really struggled with was knowing exactly what to buy. So my first few grocery shops were a bit all over the place. I'm in a different position right now, obviously. I live with my partner and we shop together. Sometimes we shop 1 week at a time. Sometimes if we're getting a lot of stuff and we're really busy, we'll just shop 2 weeks. Today we have done a 2-week shop, and that is to show you guys and have some examples of exactly what kind of things you can buy living off of a student budget. If you don't have too big of an idea of exactly what you should get, this video is going to be for you. So if that's something you're interested in, please just keep on watching. So something quick and easy you can find yourself eating at lunchtime or dinner is going to be soup. So I've got 2 different versions here of soup you can get. Now this one was on a deal today, which is more of like a fresh soup. And this one you can pick up in Asda, Morrison's, Tesco, etc. These kind of soups. This one goes right in your microwave, and this was on deal for £1 today. Another soup that you might have heard of is in a tin. This is specifically is Heinz, but we do, there are different like brand deals. So if you really are on a budget, definitely look for that store's brand of things like soup. Usually the difference in price, this one is a little bit pricier. This one is usually slightly less. Although, like I said, always look for an offer. These ones were on offer, so we picked up a few of these. Soup is super versatile. You can have it for lunch, dinner, etc. And if there's any left over with this, you can leave it in the fridge for a day or 2. And anywhere with this, I'm sure you can leave this in the fridge. Yeah, eat within 2 days as long as you put it in an airtight container. So soup is a definite winner. I'll put some prices on the screen. It's usually pretty cheap. Bread. Bread is usually super versatile and really noisy, obviously, for the camera, but bread is a super important one. It is a staple of any meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you get yourself a loaf of bread, if you're living on your own and you don't eat too much bread, you can get one of those little half loaves, which is slightly cheaper, although we tend to find that it kind of evens out. It's usually around £1.20 you're looking for a loaf of bread. Now, we can eat bread with our soup. We can make a sandwich with things like a sandwich filler. Now you can pick these up. I've got the chicken tikka one, but you can pick these up from most stores, and these are like the kind of brands. So for instance, we shopped in Morrison's. I'm going to do a future video on what the cheaper stores are for students, but this one is just a sandwich filler. You can also put it in baked potatoes, which you can keep in the freezer, which is a tip. But yeah, bread, soup, sandwiches for lunch, toast in the morning, bit of Nutella, something like that, bit of jam, really versatile. And if you get the store own version, it's usually slightly cheaper. Just top tip, always make sure to look on here. You'll find the date of when the bread goes off. Usually if it's best before, that means that you can use it a couple days after. If something says use by, that means you absolutely cannot use it after that date, because usually it will contain something like meat or dairy that goes off. So that's just a quick tip to remember. Another thing that's super helpful can be fruit and vegetables. So we've got some watermelon and we've got some apples. So we like to stock up on some fruit. Now, one thing to remember about fruit and veg is that they are perishable. So if you're doing a weekly shop, just make sure to check the dates on the fruit or veg, because they're the first things that are going to go out and will in your fridge. For instance, we bought 6 apples that go on the 23rd. There's 2 of us, so we're likely to eat those. However, if I was still at university, I might buy 2 loose apples and see if that came to a little bit under the price of the full pack. Just because if you're on your own or your flatmates aren't sharing fruit with you, that is the first thing that can go out. So just keep that in mind. Ready meals. Okay, these are a really good example of when you're a student and you don't have a lot of time and you're at uni, you've been at classes all day, you really want to order in. It is also just as quick to put one of these bad boys in the microwave, okay? So I've got a few examples here. Most stores will do a deal. Like I said, we're going to do a deep dive later on in some more videos about exactly which shops are the cheapest to buy from. So today we just got things like, for instance, Morrison's right now is doing 3 for £6 on almost all their ready meals. So we just got 3 of those, and I also got some corn pepper steaks. I also got some corn mince and some corn mince and some like corn kind of equivalent to chicken bits. I'm not vegetarian, however, they do have a lot more veggie options, and I'm trying to do a couple veggie days a week, so meat-free days, because I think I eat far too much meat. So these are really good, although slightly more expensive, but I did want to include a couple of things just if anyone is a vegetarian or anything. You can get things like the corn mince, the corn pieces, which kind of tastes like a nicer version of something like chicken, or it just tastes really good, and like I said, the peppered steak, so you can definitely get some nice vegetarian or vegan options. Another absolute student staple is beans. Things like beans and ravioli on toast are absolutely fantastic as a really quick lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever floats your boat. So again, going back to that bread, making sure we're using all of it and getting value for our money. Beans on toast, ravioli on toast, you can get spaghetti bits, like spaghetti hoops, things like that, and that is quite a cheap, cheerful way, as well as having tins like soup, ravioli, beans, you can keep in your room. So obviously as a student, you don't always get a lot of cupboard or fridge space, so these don't need to be kept in the fridge generally. You can keep them in your room or in your cupboard that you've been allotted. I used to keep loads of these in my room, and it's just a case of popping them in on the hob, or most of these you can put in the microwave, just read the instructions, and that is a super quick and easy thing just to slap on some toast in the morning. You'll want to get yourself some juice. Now if you drink things like water, that's perfect, it's free, it's out of a tap. You can also get some cordial or some Ribena, etc., which means that instead of just drinking water, you're getting that little bit of taste if that's something that you're interested in. Or we usually just end up buying a couple of orange juices as well as milk. Now, top tip, when you're a student, I'm slightly different. I have soy milk just because that's what I prefer, and I try and stay away from as much dairy as I used to drink. However, if you are on your own, there's two things you can do. You can buy one of the little milks that you can get, which can be really effective for your budget, especially because not as much of it's going to go to waste. Or you guys can all chip in your student flat and buy a big milk together, buy some tea bags, and buy like a lot of things together. So things that you might share, like milk, is totally up to you. I know that different student accommodations, different flats have different dynamics, but we used to chip in and just buy one milk and drink it all together. Make sure, for instance, this is soy milk, but it's own brand by the store. Now again, I'm gonna do a different few items in different stores and do a cost-effective analysis for university students and people on a budget. However, because we were shopping at Morrison's, I just decided to go for some Morrison's own milk because it was something like under £1, whereas the own brand was a bit more expensive, so that's something to always keep in mind. So treats are something that we all love. For instance, I always look for a deal. So the trifles were just £1 today, so I picked up some of those. You want to get yourself some sweets, etc. You know, number one tip when you're shopping, do not shop when you're hungry because things like this happen. I just picked up some chocolate chip cookie dough. Now this is a bit of a tip actually. Because we all like a treat, this is ready to bake cookie dough. Now, you can always make your own cookie dough, but it takes quite a bit of time. Now, one, when you first move into halls, or really anytime, if you make this in a tray for like 12 minutes, bung it in the oven, you are going to make a lot of friends with your people you're at university with and sharing a flat with, because this is going to smell wonderful. If your student flat is smelling a little bit off, make sure you pick something like this up, bung it in the oven. You have hot, warm cookies. They taste really, really good. Any own brand store, honestly, you can pick these up for under a couple of pounds, and it is going to smell amazing, taste amazing, and you can share them with your flatmates, which is awesome. As well, if you don't eat them, you can keep them for a few days, so you have cookies. What could be better? One of the last things I want to talk about is these microwave rices. Now these are branded, these are Uncle Ben's, but right now in most shops they're down to just £1, which is really what you're looking to pay anyway for own brand rice. I will say that I've tested basically all store-bought rices and they taste just the same as this, but these were down to £1, so we thought we'd pick up some Uncle Ben's rice. These are really good to add to the side of a meal or just to have as a meal. Sometimes if I'm not really hungry but I still want my lunch, I will put one of these, bang it in the microwave, top tip, by the way, these aren't too tall to put in your microwave. However, I saw this thing on Twitter that at the bottom, they have little pulleys that you just pull when you can, and they come undone like that. So what it means is you can sit them in your microwave and it doesn't actually touch the top. Top tip there, just to let you know. So what I do is I bang one of these in the microwave for a few minutes, put some tuna on top of it, and that makes a little lunch. Super cheap and effective for a student. So to buy a couple of these and a couple of these, it's going to cost you a few pounds, and that's going to make you quite a few meals. So definitely something to keep in mind. One of my favourite finds today in Morrison's was these little packets of ham. Now this is super effective because sometimes I find that if I buy a whole big packet of ham, we do not go through it, and especially as a student, I just did not go through that whole thing on my own. Whereas these are usually dated quite well, and they're little packets on their own, which means that for your sandwich, you can just undo it, make your little sandwich, which is a really nice lunch, and you can not worry about like wasting the rest of the ham or meat, which is really good. Okay, last but not least, there are other things that you may need to consider, either buying with your flatmates or buying yourself, which are things like kitchen essentials and bathroom essentials. So we had to pick up some soap. Again, we just went with the own brand. Soap is soap, so go with the cheapest thing you can find. You're a student, we're on a budget. Again, really cheap. They were like 50p sponges. These are for doing your dishes. And obviously we got some Fairy Liquid. Again, this was on offer, otherwise we usually do just go with the cheapest one, own brand store. It does the exact same thing. And some black bags, again, own brand. You'll see a pattern here. Own brand is definitely the way to go when you're on a student budget. If you like the taste of it, which really, for most things, I cannot really feel it, like I don't really feel that there's a much difference between Savers and own brand stuff, but like you saw here, you can pick up so many different offers. I can do a video dedicated to the types of offers different stores have on right now. If that's something you're interested in, please leave a like and comment down below, just letting me know. A lot of these kind of things you might want to buy as a flat, so you might want to get everyone together and say, let's put some money in a pot, and when we run out of these things, we will all, you know, chip in because we all do the dishes, etc. So you, before getting this, you might just want to talk to your flatmates and see how that works. So is it on a rotation basis? So once every month, one of you buys it, and then again and again, it's like changing, or do you all just kind of chip in for the allotted amount? So if you take anything away from this, it is to make sure you are always shopping for a deal. If there's any 3 for £6, 2 for £1, things like that, definitely make sure you're utilising that. Another tip is to go for own brands. So Tesco, Asda, Morrison's, they all have own brand stuff. So instead of going for Heinz beans, it's always worth looking at whether they have their own brand of beans, trying those out and seeing if you like them. Make sure you are always looking for things like bread, eggs, the real staples that you eat that are going to kind of bulk up your meals. You want to be looking for things like rice, because you can add that literally a couple minutes in the microwave to a side for a meal, and it's really cheap. Those are £1 right now in most stores. Make sure that you're still treating yourself by getting a couple sweets, but see what's on offer. Shops always have like different things on offer. For instance, just quickly, one of the meals that most shops do is things like a stir fry, which if you're on your own, you can half and put some in the fridge, or you could share with your flatmates. So for instance, Morrison's right now are doing 3 for £3. You can literally get these in any store basically. So you get the little stir fry, the noodles, and you get to pick a sauce. Now this is a £3 dinner. You can add some meat if you want. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. I think tonight we'll add the corned meat. But yeah, this is such a good, cheap, easy meal. If you don't want a ready meal and you kind of want to cook something yourself, throw this in a pan for like 6 minutes and it is done. Cheap, cheerful, really, really tasty, and pretty good for you. So it's nothing terribly unhealthy. But yeah, this is such a good option that we eat all of the time. Hey there guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. So if you guys want to know a little bit further about the Lazy Student as well as groceries, we have a blog down below which is all about buying your groceries as a student, and it also has a really nifty little grocery list which is super helpful when you are starting out or you need a bit of inspiration so please go and check that out. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you want to see another video on groceries and you want to kind of be taken around the store, you want to see a comparison of different shops and what's better, please just let us know by leaving a comment down below or tweeting us. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!